just a moment, okay?
All right.
But while we're waiting,
can I say a few things?
wait a minute.
Oh, all right. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, Wayne, I tell you,
Your father
only
wants to.
only from those who know you best can you be humbled so much. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you. Only from those who know you well can you be humbled so much.
Wait a minute now. Did you think I would forget?
No, heck no. But
So,
not, I mean,
every one of you out there, can you please type in the comment box? Happy birthday, Dr. Whiteman.
Jeez, thank you.
Yes, happy
Appreciate
birthday.
it.
Yes, a big happy birthday to you.
It's such a great moment to be 28 again. It's just
Yes.
so enlightening.
Yes. I did not know that our birthdays were in the same month.
Yeah, September's a good month for a lot of great people.
It is. People are saying happy birthday to you.
Yes, they are. I like it.
Special person you are. Okay. Well.
Oh, Mr. Sir. Oh,
we'll get started. We're going to get started because we have
a
lot of questions and we want to get started so we were talking earlier, if it runs over, we usually go about 50 minutes to an hour. It may run a little bit over and I'm okay with that as long as we can get, because I think this is a great topic that we're about to have. So hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Leslie Rogers. You are now on Let's Talk Men's Mental Health, where we work to promote dialogue around mental health and well-being with men. And now we might say that this is called Let's Talk Men's Mental Health, but we have women on here too. I'm a sister, I have a father, I have a brother. So we as women need to, become aware of mental illnesses that impact men and how men present and how they, disclose information around mental health and mental illnesses. Those are important for us too as women. So everyone is welcome. But the idea is to promote dialogue around men's mental health and well-being and to decrease stigmas around that population. So you guys might see we have a special guest on here. You guys know Dr. Lowell Whiteman, of course. It's his birthday. Happy birthday. But Dr. Lowell Whiteman is an elite performance coach. He works with a lot of elite athletes. Wayne Lassane is he and his wife actually have a business. They work with couples, marital sex therapy, and etc. And they are doing a great job with that. And you might see our special guest. Senatorial candidate Marcellus Cruz has lived in Maryland for over 32 years. He is the managing director for Cruising Technologies. He attended private schooling at the Pine Forge Academy in New Jersey, right? Was that in New Jersey? In Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Okay. Pine Forge Academy in Pennsylvania. Oakwood University. Now, was that in Huntsville, Alabama?
That was in Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay. And Washington Adventist University in Tacoma Park, Maryland.
There you go.
He received his A+ certification, application master's, and has become a network administrator that also oversees cybersecurity and online data processing services. Wow. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to join us on today to talk about such a sensitive topic, potentially sensitive topic for many people, mental illness, right? Around mental health. Oftentimes I separate the two, mental health from mental illness. And I do that because a lot of times people are resistant to talk about mental illness. So when you ask a person, hey, how do you feel about mental health? They're actually thinking you're talking about mental illness. So they're like, I don't want to talk about that, right? But mental health, guys, is how we take care of ourselves holistically. How we're able to get up in the morning and get up for work, go to work and be productive on our jobs. How we're able to take care of our families. How we're able to take care of ourselves. go to doctor's appointments, how we take care of ourselves holistically. Mental illnesses are diagnosable and treatable disorders. That's what people are afraid to talk about.
Okay.
Because that's where the stigmas come in, the mental illnesses, right? So I applaud you for taking this step and coming on here to speak about this topic, because as you know, a lot of persons shy away from this discussion. So I applaud you for coming on here and accepting this invitation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, senatorial candidate. Wow, that seems like a lot of responsibility. What made you think about becoming a senator, a U.S. senator?
Well, I'm going to try to make this simple and not long and drawn out. Growing up, I've always wanted to serve. From a kid, I knew that I wanted to serve others. And so as I matriculated through school, I would help other campaigns, and I got a chance to serve and help on, national campaigns. Like I was on the Barack Obama campaign. I was in Iowa, I went to North Carolina, I went to Florida. And so by doing those kind of things, you become more of a strategist. And so all my life, I've helped people get into office. But I've always in the back of my mind said, I want to serve as well. And so when Ben Cardin decided not to run for re-election, I kind of mused, I probably should look at that. But I was just musing. I was not really thinking about running. It was my wife who sat me down and said, listen, I respect you. You've been building an incredible company, but I don't think that you're using your total gifts. Now, that's a deep thing to say, especially to me. I'm not using my total gifts. And she's like, no, I think that God wants you to take a look at this race for real, for real. And so I sat down and I thought about it, and I came up with all the reasons why I would run. And then I thought about why wouldn't I run? But there were not enough reasons why I wouldn't run. I looked at our nation. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with technology. We're dealing with technology issues. We're dealing with cybersecurity issues, social media, digital currency. Everything is headed towards technology. And so when I came back and told her that, she said, well, you got to run.
Right.
It's just that.
Yeah. Now, that why versus why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any doubt that you would be successful?
In my entire life, I have taken on some tough challenges. Starting your own business is a tough challenge. And so God told me to start a business when I proposed to my wife, believe it or not. And so we were planning a wedding, building a home, and me starting a business all at the same time. And through that, I began to learn how to trust him in all things. Now, I trusted him all my life before, but, this is on a bigger scale now. And so I've learned to trust him. So taking on this, to me, it's almost like I'm running for a mayor position, to be honest with you. That's how my psyche sees it. It doesn't see it as, oh, this is huge. No, this is what I do.
That's good. So you haven't experienced any self-doubt?
No, not whatsoever.
Good. Good. So what's the process like? Can anyone run for senator?
Well, you got to be 30 at least. And you have to be a resident in the state that you're running. And you have to have been at least for 9 years a U.S. citizen. I was born in America, so I didn't have that issue. And I've been, like you said, in Maryland for over 32 years. So that's the qualifications.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That doesn't seem like a lot. Well, I guess it is, if you want to be in that position. What's the how does the election work? Like, what's that like?
All right. Right. So, as you all know, the U.S. is a two-party system for the most part. And so, when you're running for office, you have to make a decision. Am I running in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party? Now, you can go off and run as an independent or one of the third parties that's out there, but that's a little tougher. Me, I'm running in the Democratic Party. And so you have to go through a primary. And so I'm running against a few other people for the Democratic ticket, to take that mantle and then go into the general election. So I'm out here making my case for why I believe I would be the better choice to be the Democratic Party's lead in the Senate.
Excellent. And that leads me to my next question. Why do you believe that you would be a great asset or a better choice for this position?
That's a really good question, and I'm gonna try to answer that as simple as possible. I don't know if you all, I'm sure everyone has heard of the story about little David and Goliath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Little David, he didn't know that he was going to have, be called, to go serve. But he was out in the field and he was doing God's work. I mean, he was taking care of sheep, he was protecting them. And by protecting them, he learned skills that was needed later. Well, that's how my life has been. God called me in 2008 to start my own company. My company has served over 6,000, it's been in 6,000 residences across Maryland. We then got into businesses. I'm in all types of businesses doing their technology, from healthcare companies to tax, services type companies to construction. We're also a state vendor. We deal directly with the state. And we also are in several embassies. So I know several ambassadors and dignitaries, and I deal with them all the time. That skill and the things that I learned there, I believe has prepared me uniquely for this job.
Excellent, excellent response. Thank you. One more question that's related to this that someone wrote in. Do you believe that a senator should have a certain skill set to perform the job effectively?
I certainly do. Just recently, well, now I can't say recently. Last year, not knowing that I was going to run for the Senate, I took a character test. And I find that it's important for people to understand what their character is capable of. And just recently, I went through the assessment of that character test. And my character is an outgoing type of character. I found out that one of my skills is persuasion. I think that a senator should be persuasive. Why? Because you have other colleagues and you're trying to push agendas and things that you believe will better serve mankind, right? And so I believe that you should be able to have a skill set, of a character that work well with others and out in front. The last piece is I believe that my studies, my particular views and study technology is where our nation is going. It's where it is. And I think it's high time that we vote in someone into the Senate, especially that understands technology. How are we voting in all these other people? And we're dealing with technology issues. It's not going to get any easier. AI just dropped and it's getting bigger and bigger. And in 2 years, things are going to look totally different. And so we need someone now in the Congress who understands where we're going and what we need to do to protect ourselves.
Excellent. Thank you. Dr. Lowell?
Well, I was just going to feed on that a little bit, Marcellus, about the recent error in the Social Security system, overpaying people and then asking them to pay back what was overpaid to them. I'm not trying to get into a political conversation. This is practical things that happen in life that create stress. that create anxiety and frustrations. And too often, depending on who's most affected, the pushback into just the normal social settings, shopping malls, doctors' offices, that anxiety can manifest itself right there in that group of people. Where does a senatorial candidate and a senator in the future rest with those kinds of problems? Do we extend it beyond the fix of the system, or do we just fix the system and then move on and disregard the emotional impact on the voters and the population at large?
Oh, that's a really good question, and I hope I answer it. I believe that it is, like I said, it's high time that you put someone with the skill set, people person, right, along with understanding technology, understanding where things are going, understanding how technology help us, right? Um, Something like what you just said in other government services, we know technology. What is technology? Let me first break that down. All AI is and all technology is the dissemination of data quicker and faster. That's it. We're trying to get data quicker and faster out. That's what this is doing right now. Zeros and ones. We can meet up quicker and faster. And so my thing is, when you have someone who builds these type of services in Congress, that person can help that old antiquated system, speed up these things and help people. And yes, we have to deal with the person mentally where they are. We have to bring everybody on board. That's what I'm doing every day. I can't just go in and put in new services. I need to bring people along with me. And by bringing them along, it helps teaches us what needs to be in these services to make them easier for them. With that, we need to bring on security, right? That protect. And that's really why I'm another big reason why I'm running, because Congress they are taking their time with these issues. Our data is the most important currency to big data. Most people don't realize that. Spies, what were they getting? Data, right? And they were selling it, So big tech, that's what we gather. We gather data. And so that is what we need to be protecting right now. That's where our mindset should be. I hope I answered.
Yeah, you did, Marcellus. And in fact, you caused me to ask you another question about the kind of the common man, the boots on the ground families that are dealing with the complexities of data, the complexities of the systems that are we're all going to be facing as we grow older. The paperwork that's essential for Social Security when you retire, and all these kind of things. And I'll admit it openly. It's my birthday, so I know I've gone through that already. But it's not paperwork the common man should face unless you're informed about it. So what is it that in your success as a business person, I'm going to wonder that you're going to have challenges with people saying, can you really relate to me? Can you really relate to the common ground issues that cause my greatest frustrations, and helping them get educated in a way that's practical and not too overwhelming, not too over the top? Those are very interesting dynamics in the communities that you serve and will be serving in Maryland in your district. I don't know specifically what your district is. I'm going to guess it's going to have a lot of blending of socioeconomic stratus to it. But kind of give me your thoughts about, how do I educate at a very practical level the essential messages that simplify the complexities of data so that I reduce the anxiety on people?
Very good question. Well, first of all, it takes patience, That's the first thing that I do have. A lot of patience. And I tell my staff, you have to have a lot of patience. We build systems, right? And I don't know if I said this, but we've been in over 6,000, right? And I've been in homes where people start out by saying, I don't want any smart technology. I don't want anything to run my house. and before we leave, their entire home is smart. Why? Because I take the time out to explain them. It's not making you lazy, you know, because they're like, I don't want lazy kids. It's not making you lazy. It's bringing efficiency to your home, right? And it's helping you to be able to monitor your home. Um, when we're talking about services on an app, my thing when we're building them is we take our time and we deal more with the user. We don't just build something and then here you go, because we also build visa passport systems. You know, here you go. No, we take the time out to understand and remove some of those anxieties that you may be feeling and make some things a little bit more automated so that it's not as cumbersome with regular paperwork. Is, you know, so I hope I'm answering your question.
Yeah,
I think and you got to be a people person, and that's why I'm saying it. You got to know how to deal with the average common person.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, first of all, I want to say I love the way you broke down, just what you had to do to run for office. I think that, a lot of people don't know these things. And so just to simplify it, I love simple. Simple is always easier. So I'm sure, Andrew Yang ran on his platform on technology and everything like that. Again, this is not a political conversation. At the same time, I understand technology as well. I have a 15-year-old who started homeschooling in 5th grade. He's amazing at technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
But me being from the DC, born and raised in Washington D.C. for some years, and I lived in Maryland for a while. I know there's some underserved schools there as well. So as far as technology goes, because again, kids learning at a very early age helps relieve some of the stress. Back to what Dr. White was talking about for jobs and income and all that everything. So how do we know? My question is, I guess, making sure that because I saw that your support of your platform is for schools and oh man down for schools and curriculum and things of such. So as far as technology goes, are we assuring that these kids get it, because they are the ones who these jobs that are coming into place right now, all these jobs that are autopilot, like all the kiosks is coming up, for them to be able to work these systems and everything like that. I guess I hope my question was clear.
Okay, I'm gonna try to. I believe I understand your question. So first, I want to say I'm running on a technology platform, but what I try to tell people is it's a technology mindset to a lot of issues that we're dealing with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to education, I'll give you an example of what I mean. I'm giving my technology mind to an issue. Our schools are unserved right now, underserved. I mean, the kids right now are ahead of the curriculum, right? They can pick up a cell phone and they can work it at age 2.
Yeah.
They're coding in grade 4 and 5, and so what I would like to do is real simple, and this doesn't require a lot of money, but this is from a technology mindset and background, is I would like to start allowing kids to get certifications from grade 7 through 12.
Wow.
Now, when I say certifications, I'm not just talking about getting computer certifications. In every sector in our economy, it requires certifications. And these kids are smart enough in 7th to start looking at that now. Why? What does it do? It helps them to begin to understand, what do I want to do in life, right? What we're doing is we're constantly saying, oh, we need all this money to upgrade our schools, and we do. But from a technology standpoint, I'm saying, let's just upgrade the curriculum.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, all the schools are on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Because now all these kids, that kid from low-income family who's smart can get a certification. Begins to change the game.
Yeah.
And see, this one anecdote that I'm kind of putting out there for people to understand. When I talk technology, I'm talking more than just computers and AI. I'm talking, how does a technology person look at our issues, and try to make that data move faster.
I actually really like that answer. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's really good, actually. Yeah.
I do too,
And if you might,
because I think that kids need to be more stimulated now. You know, when we talk about, some people are so quickly to diagnose children with ADHD, but sometimes they're just not stimulated enough. You know, they're above or beyond what they're being taught, and they need to be stimulated more. And, you know, if you can stimulate them more, then you can grab their attention a bit more, right? And that would be that's actually what you said, because that's also an esteem booster.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you give someone a certification? You know, it's like a praise, like an award as to what you've accomplished as a child, right? So I like that response. I do have a question, and this is, I got this off of your website, and this is pertaining to what you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Cruz believes in a vision that funds and enhances our school curriculum, upskilling workers, increasing innovation in state services, bringing down taxes and adding more technology and renewable energy factories in Maryland. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I know you just talked about schools.
So right now, here in Maryland, we have NASA here, NSA. We have a lot of tech companies. Maryland has quantum computers. We have the tools to build and create our own Silicon Valley here. What does this do? It's a mindset. It changes the curriculum, right? And I kind of touched on that. It began to help you to see that these young people from grade 7 need to be in with businesses. We have a lot of small businesses. Small businesses run our economy. It's the engine of our economy. And those businesses can help young people to know more about where they want to go. I do it. By them doing that, that young person at an earlier age, right, might realize, I want to build a new company. That's innovation. That's what's happening out west. More stimulation of what else do we need? We know that a lot of jobs are going to be lost with the rise of AI. But what I'm telling people is, if you have a senator and leaders who understand where technology is going, we're creating new jobs, right? And now those new jobs are helping keep people, you know what I'm saying, working.
Okay.
And so
let me build on that.
Wait 1 second, just one quick second, because I want to kind of shift a little bit.
Okay.
To Dr. Whiteman, I'm going to let you ask your question, but I want to kind of switch, because I want to kind of stay focused on mental health.
Okay.
Before we, and Dr. Whiteman, you wanted to ask a question, and then we're going to switch a little bit to be more mental health forward.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I was going to bring it back to the anxiousness that's created by misunderstandings, lack of facts, not having available resources that connect the dots. So I'll use a specific business example, and I'll say Mr. Cruz now, because now I'm going to be acting like a campaign advisor to you. So you're Mr. Cruz, and that is that the public education system has been dramatically underserved by the previous leadership, and I say that word lightly in reference to that period of time, because there were and are regional programs around the country that corporations in the IT industry, Apple is a great example, they brought in product into the schools to connect the minds to underserved, disenfranchised, and marginalized kids and families. What hasn't happened because of the public school void in leadership is connecting the dots. Is connecting those programs that are out in those schools to a national footprint, so that now the companies that want to watch the kids that come out with these very high self-esteem builders, great leadership reinforcement kind of things, to understand who and where those kids are, so they can bring them forward. Now this relates to the anxieties that mom and dads feel, and the stressors that they put into their families about, well, it's going to cost me more money. How does my kid participate in that program? And if they succeed, oh my God, there's going to be more money I'm going to have to come up with out of pocket, because yeah, I love my kid to participate in academic stuff, but they're going to have an NBA career, and I've been putting money in that every year for the club team.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of financial, socioeconomic pressures that are put on this because programs have not connected the dots for a national footprint. So I'm wondering, to the points you made on your website about the needs of improving public education and the public school systems, whether you've looked at the national connections of all these districts and connecting the dots with the technological needs that we have, so that mom and dads don't feel so anxious about spending more money and feeling left out, but they want to participate, but they hesitate because of that kind of confusion. They really don't understand there's really no financial cost. It's just opportunity cost.
Correct. That's correct. And yes, I have looked at it because I'm in schools. And I've looked at it, and I've looked at what did I have to go through? How can I bring that to bear to a regular public school? And there's ways that we can do it that are not so explosive to the budget nationally. And there are other entities that, you have to get involved in this process. And I know that this is not an overnight fix, but there's some things that we can do that will change the game immediately, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I want to get into this conversation on the national level. My character is the type that I don't sit on things quietly. I'm going to bring it out. I'm going to let everyone know, and I'm going to try to build consensus to really move the needle. And one thing that I've learned about me, I have people on both sides, right, who get and know that I'm not a partisan. I'm just someone who likes to get things done. And that's what technology people do. They get things done.
Right. And I'm so excited as you're answering these questions, because this gives people an opportunity to know who you are and what you stand for and what your priorities are, right? And if you guys hear my hear my phone going off, people are pinging, asking questions. So one person, and I'll read this, said, not just the spending, but the anxiety of having to learn new technologies, smart homes, secure home, Wi-Fi, etc. Do you want to quickly comment on that? Because I'm going to shift real quick.
Okay. Real simple. Like I said, I've been in many homes, and people, I've been in retirement homes. I'm going to use them as an example. I've been in retirement homes.
That's a great example, by the way.
What did you say?
It's going to be a great example, because that's what we were talking about, the demographic who don't want it. It's hard for them to stay up to technology. So perfect example, yeah.
And a lot of times they'll go, I don't understand this technology. They say all this, and I say, okay, let me install a few things for you, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Well, you're going to give me a manual? You won't need a manual. That's how smart AI is. I've installed smart thermostat, installed smart TV, right? Bringing down costs. They're going with, streaming service, and and then help them with their lights, right? And put a couple AIs around. Once I show them how easy it is, I never get a call back. My company never gets callbacks on how to work the TV, how to turn off the lights, because it's speaking, or you can go and hit it with your own hand and cut it off. People realize it's really not that. It's just that they didn't know. That's the anxiety. I just don't know. And so by showing them, they become changed. And that's why I'm running.
I thought that was a great example. Real quick. So it's so funny you say that, because my son kind of gave me years ago the difference between the iPhone and the Android.
No.
He was like, you know, the iPhone is user friendly. You know, it does everything for you. Android is like driving manual. So my mom, I told my mom, I said iPhone all day. Yeah, iPhone. Yeah, easy. No, not even think about it. Yeah, so it's perfect.
There you go. That's
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. So now we're going to shift up a little bit, and I'm going to ask Mr. Cruz if you could be a bit vulnerable. Again, this platform is to validate and normalize experiences. And, you know, I think that, in my opinion, I think that persons that are in office and, you know, should show a little bit of vulnerability, and that helps to connect to people to understand who you are as well. So now my question to you is, oftentimes, you know, growing up in homes, mental health and mental illnesses aren't really addressed. Or we don't, especially growing up in an African-American family, and you identify as a Black man, correct? How was that? How were those experiences in your family growing up? Was it talked about? Was it addressed in your family? You know, if mental illness was suspected, how was that handled?
all right. So for me, my mom's side of the family dominated in my upbringing. The Taylors from Florida, a big family of 12. And each of the 12 had maybe 6 to 8 kids. You know, just a lot of kids. Then those kids had kids. But
That's a
one
family reunion. That's a big family reunion.
Yeah.
No, it
That's
is.
that's a lot of potato salad and coleslaw right there. I'm telling you.
No, trust me. So one thing that I learned early on is my family doesn't hold back. The Taylor side of the family, they're, you know, you have an issue, you speak your mind. You say what the issue is, and you confront the person, whoever that issue is. And so growing up, that's what I learned. I learned that you don't hold back. You speak your mind. And I think that has been a great recipe that has led into my own marriage, right? Because now I started my own family. And I told my wife when we were engaged that we needed to have premarital counseling, right? Because mentally, we have to realize that 2 people are coming to become one. And, you know, we have to do this. You know, now how do you do that? I mean, all our lives we've been separate, and now you have to, you know, do this all of a sudden. That's a tough thing. And a lot of people don't go get help. I was always taught, you know, being in a Black home to go get help. I come from educators, right? So my mom was the first not Black, she was the first woman officer, vice president at the university. And so I come from educators, and they always instilled in us, you got to get help for things. And so for me, it's not a stigma.
Yeah. Do you think that I'm sorry,
Mhm.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you think that SES is a major influence on whether there's or I guess how mental health is communicated or addressed, et cetera? You said you come from a pretty well-off family. Do you think SES contributes to stigmas?
Well, I'm gonna say this, especially in the Black community, they have a lot of reasons, you know, from the past. My dad would say that a lot of reasons why they were always skeptical of the medical field, right? You know, I'm not gonna go deep into that, but they had, you know, to go to the hospital, we're not treated well, we're not treated right. And then experiments, you know, and so that, I think that has been a big part of the stigma historically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so then you move into this, you know, especially for men, you got to be strong. in this society, especially a young Black man. You got to be strong. You got to stand up for yourself. You got to be, all these things. You stand up for yourself, but then when the cops come, be meek and mild. I think, and then I also think that because of the way the home was set up, uh, a male thought that he had to push down to, his offspring. You gotta be strong. You can't show weakness. You can't cry. That was not in my family, but I know a lot of families like that.
Mhm.
Crying is weakness. And so I think historically is why there's a stigma there. But I do think that we're changing.
Yeah, especially depending on the responsibility of the child's upbringing, right? A lot of young children, have a lot of responsibility for being the man of the household, especially when there's absent fathers in the home, right? So taking that into consideration. Thank you for that vulnerability. So another thing I read is that, and I applaud you. So I was a former VA psychologist. I worked a lot with veterans, and it was one of the most rewarding experiences of my career. And I saw that was one of your priorities, working with first responders, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that mission?
Well, in my family, I come from a lot of people who serve. I've had a lot of family in the military. My sister is in social work, so she's on the front line. And so I've seen it up close. I've seen that even the front line needs, services for them, for what they're going through. And so, seeing it up close, there's been times when, I don't know if she's okay with me saying this, but, she's been brought to tears, of some of the things I've seen. And so I think a lot of times we don't equate those who help with needing help, you know. And so it's a passion of mine. Especially I have a lot of family members who've gone to war. We send them off, and then when they come back, it's like, you know. And so my thing is, and we have to be a society that take care of each and every one of us. I mean, we have to look out for each other.
Yeah,
That's what service is all about.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I applaud you for saying that because, our veterans do need the additional help. The VA is overwhelmed with veteran needs, and sometimes they get lost in that process.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read that on your site, I was like, my antennas went up. Wow, first responders. And I will, if your sister is listening, I will empathize with that because during COVID we all suffered. We, as providers, medical professionals, mental health professionals, what have you, we were watching our colleagues die, and we still had to take care of our own caseloads, and we still had to work, right? Which leads me back to you with that vulnerability piece, right? Putting you on the spotlight. Yeah, putting you on the spotlight. So I imagine that, being in this role and running for such a prestigious position, how do you take care of yourself? How do you engage in self-care? I mean, how do you not become burnt out, stressed out? How do you, who do you have to fall on? I know you said you're married, but to fall on and disclose your inner, feelings to. How do you engage in self-care? How do you take care of yourself?
I'm gonna be very transparent. God, people say God and they don't know how to describe him. I have a real personal relationship with God. He's the reason why I'm running. He told me to. He taught me a while ago. Remember, I've been in the field. He taught me a while ago how to come home and literally. I mean, I could have just messed up, whatever. I've learned how to come home, take it off, let him handle it for a while, and decompress. I mean, sometimes I watch a movie. You know, sometimes I'll watch a show, I'll binge a show because my time is limited. So, and I'm fully immersed in what I'm doing. I'm fully immersed in my marriage when I get home. I'm fully immersed in if I'm cooking. I love to cook. So when I get in the kitchen and I start whipping up a meal, I'm fully immersed in that. And I'm not thinking about, you know, what I got to do. What did I mess up in that speech? Or, no, I am present. And so I have learned how to be present. And we have to be present. Why? Because others, and that's a sign of, you know, upcoming mental illness if we don't learn how to cut things off.
Right.
That's what I do. I have to say, God has taught me that.
Excellent. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Whiteman and Wayne. I know you guys had some questions that you wanted to ask as well. Thank you so much for the vulnerability. I love it when men get up on here and talk about, you know, themselves and validate to our listeners, our men that's out there listening to us. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm not going to let the vulnerability button go away. I'm going to push that a little bit more, but it's going to be related to what you just talked about your faith and the drive and commitment you have towards that foundationally for your behavior. And the politics you're looking to get into is not casual. It's the House is one thing, but the Senate is a whole other Megillah, especially in Maryland. You've got a great governor, and even though I'm an independent, I believe that gentleman did a lot of great things for the state of Maryland, for both sides of the aisle. Now, what my question to you is about vulnerability is when you get the feeling from someone that they are not receiving you, they don't believe what you're telling them, they don't want to commit to doing what you say. What is it that you draw upon in addition to your faith to personally either convince them or at least empathetically understand where they're coming from? Because you know right now both parties have more than their fair share of emotional baggage. How are you going to address that?
That's a great question. Remember earlier I was talking about how I had a character assessment. But that character assessment helped me to see my blind spots. My gift is persuasion, but when I feel like what you just described, somebody's not listening, they're pushing their own agenda, they don't hear what I'm saying, my character will go on, go on 10. I'm trying to persuade them. By learning that, I've learned that I need to dial that back and listen. That's my blind spot. The person has to know, listen. Once they know that you're listening to them and you repeat to them what they've said and where they're coming from, it almost disarms them, and they allows them to now hear you. Why? Because they're in that posture of, you don't hear me. I have learned that is what I have to do. I have to do a lot more listening when somebody sees it totally different. And after I've listened, then in my mind come up with how would I address where they're coming from a different angle.
Yeah, I like that. You're going to be challenged. I have experience in this area. You're going to be challenged.
I look forward to the challenge. I mean, because that's the whole point of this, right? Serving means that it's not about me. It's about you and getting something done. So listen, I'm revved up, ready to go. I'm ready to be challenged. I'm ready to be put on that hot seat because that's what I'm called to do.
I'm going to reference Nelson Mandela. He referred to his time in prison as one of the most enlightening and engaging moments of his life because it told him and showed him how to calm himself from the anxieties and oppressions of others. So I'm wondering, where is your quiet time and how does that help you to maintain vulnerability, but at the same time be resolute in your commitment to what needs to be done?
I'm about to be very transparent. People are going to take this. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and Seventh-day Adventist is a lifestyle, right? We believe that the seventh day is the Sabbath. It's a time to put away everything and to reflect on what God has done for you. That has been my quiet time. Doesn't mean that I withdraw from the world. It just means that I put away all of the normal things that I've been doing that, for the week. And I just focus on the goodness. It doesn't mean that I don't go out and talk to people, but I'm more focused on the goodness, and I'm more in a more listening mode. You catch me on a Sabbath, I'm all ears because I'm not pushing anything. It's my quiet time to reflect and look at the goodness. I'm breathing, I'm smiling, there's life happening around me. I have a lot to be thankful for. And that's that ritual that we do every week. So that's what I draw on. Trust me, every Friday night, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's here.
But how do you deal with and talking about transparency, right?
Mhm.
And I have a strong faith base too as well. But sometimes I still get down.
Mhm.
Sometimes I still have my times. Sometimes I still have moments where I have to go off to myself and cry. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have and I want to normalize that, because just because we have a strong faith base doesn't mean that we're not human, right? So in being human, I guess what you're saying is how you deal with those times when you're faced with disappointment or challenges and things of that sort. You turn to your faith. But is it right to say that you do still have those moments?
I have those moments, and what I have learned is who you put around you, right? Uh, if you have doubters around you, that's what you're going to get when you have those moments. When you have people that kind of see the world similar to you, that's what you're going to get. When I'm down, or I feel like, man, why? I remember there was one time when I started my company, was a couple weeks into it. I went to my wife and I was like, I can't do this. I, I can't do this. And she was up. She was like, babe, God told you to do it. I'm behind you. I will give you the support. She gave me the pep talk. And all of a sudden, I reflected on it, and then I was back up. I think that is what we need in our lives. We need people around us who give us that support when we need it, that especially at those times, because we all go down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I wanted to hear you say that because I wanted, people to know, yes, you can have a strong faith base, but you're human. You can still have challenging times as well. I will read another question. How do you encourage, or do you encourage your staff as well to encourage your staff to engage in self-care or therapy, or you're an advocate toward your staff, or do you talk about it at all to your staff, to prevent burnout and anxiety, reduce anxiety and stress, because campaigning can be stressful. So how do you deal with that with your staff?
Well, I bring the same thought process and leadership that I did in my business to the campaign. And if you want to see how a person's campaign is, just look at their leadership style. I believe that family comes first. I believe that when you are having a mental moment, we need to stop and take time out. I believe that everyone should be heard. A lot of times, a lot of issues come when people don't feel like they're being heard. I believe in vigorous discussions. I mean, vigorous, you know. But then we learn how to have those discussions, go at it, make a decision, and leave that right there. And that's something that we start out with. Listen, we're gonna disagree, and we're gonna go at it,
Yeah.
but we're gonna choose the best. We're gonna be fair. We'll choose the best. So I don't believe that my way is always the right way all the time. I have to listen. And so after that biggest conversation, boom, So I hope.
I have I have to excuse myself with reservations, but I am very grateful for this opportunity to have met you, Marcellus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be watching
Please
you. I'm gonna
watch.
be watching you. And thank you very much, Leslie, for the surprise and the humbling experience of the celebration of my birthday. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We'll see you next Monday, same time.
Wayne Lassane, it's
Yeah.
always good to see you, my
Yes,
friend.
yes, yes.
Take care of yourself.
You too.
All right, bye now.
Thank you. Have fun.
That's-
Guys, if you guys anyone have any questions that you want to ask, just just put it in the comment box. We just answered this question that was just put up there. What is your approach to encouraging people around you, i.e. staff that are experiencing challenges? You just talked about that. Any other questions out there,
Yeah.
Wayne? You have something?
I just want to say real quick, because I too have somewhere to be at 5. But I just want to say, first of all, because we talked about this a couple of times on this platform about taking care of ourselves. But I thought it was great that you said how you let go. I think that a lot more people should hear that, because I think that's a great way. I learned it later on in life as well, just to learn how to let go things and just be. And I love how you said be fully present and immersed into what you're doing once you get to the house, because I think that's huge, because because it is a transition, right? And how can you be present if you're carrying those parts with you into the house, and then you can't even fully show up to for your wife, or it's for your kids, or for cooking. So nothing gets the best of you because you are still somewhere else. So I thought that was great. So thank you for that, for just letting people know that, because I think that more people can use that information and that knowledge out there. So yes, thank you.
No, you're right. And that's something you have to learn. It's not overnight that you learn that.
Right.
That is constant.
I'm sorry. Continue. We have a lag time sometimes, and I get the end of you. Yeah, continue, Mr. Cruz. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that's a constant that you have to learn how to do.
Yeah. I so agree. Yes, I have to remind myself of it all the time. Like when I'm feeling something heavy on me, and it's constantly cycling in my head, it's like I got to let it go. I can't. It's nothing I can do about it right now. Just let it go. I can put a pin in it and come back to it. But right now, I it's probably best that way, anyways, because then I get to come with refreshed, mindset, reset everything and look at it completely differently. So yes.
Exactly. A fresh mindset. That's why God says, give it to me for a moment. You do something else. I'm going to bring some other things to you.
Yes. Thank you. So I have to leave, because I have to wait to be at 5. But hey, good luck. I'm gonna be watching you as well. I live in California now, but I definitely still pay attention to the DMV area, because I have all my family back there, and I will be checking you out as well. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Okay, Wayne. Talk to you soon.
All right.
And everyone, we are at the top of the hour, so we are about to end. If anyone have any questions, just jump on and ask. I will let everybody know just before we jump off. For those of you who have ordered the Mental Health Talk magazine, we were sold out. We just replenished, and we have our orders in now. So I'm excited to show.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're back in now. So if you've placed orders, they will be mailed out on Monday. And the spring edition, Allison Williams is on the cover, and she's talking about her experiences with Phyllis Hyman when Phyllis Hyman committed suicide some years back. So please get your copies. I'll put the link in the bio. Oh my gosh, this has been such a great opportunity to speak with you, and everybody's gone now. We're just left alone. But any final words you'd like to say to everyone before you jump off?
Yeah, I would like to, for those who want to know more about me and the campaign, go to marcelluscrews.com. That's MarcellusCrews.com. Learn where we're going to be. Please come out. I want to meet you. That's who I am. I love grassroots. I love meeting people, and also donate. Go on the website and you can donate and to help spread our word.
You have a campaign coming up, right?
I have
coming up.
We're actually launching on September the 27th at Washington Adventist University, Tacoma. That's in Tacoma Park, Maryland. at noon on the 27th. That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm. And that's September 27th at noon.
At noon.
Washington
Yeah.
Adventist University. I will post that as well.
Please.
We're going to take this video down because it's going to be edited. So
Okay.
Anything else you'd like anyone to know? Like any where they can donate?
They can donate at Marcellus or marcelluscruise.com, or elect marcelluscruise.com is our actual donation page. Elect Marcellus, MARCELLUS, cruise, CREWS.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for your participation and your vulnerability and willingness to join. Let's Talk Men's Mental Health. Guys, thank you for coming out. And we will be back next Monday with another special guest. So always here at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's Talk Men's Mental Health. Until then, I will see you guys next Monday. Okay. Thank you.